Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmanuel Cyprian and this is Title Consulting. In this video, I'll be sharing with you Contingency Planning Control Family, the CP Control Family. What is CP Control Family? What is Contingency Planning? How many controls do we have under Contingency Planning? What are the processes of Contingency Planning? What are some of the plannings that we have under Contingency Planning? So these are the things we're going to be looking at in this particular video. So stay with me as I share with you Contingency Control Family. Now, contingency planning means that organizations must establish, maintain, and effectively implement plans for emergency responses, backup operations, and post-disaster recovery for organizational information system to ensure the availability of critical information resources and continuity of operation in emergency situation. So what does this mean? It means that contingency planning is a form of having a backup. It means that contingency planning is a form of having like an emergency site, like an emergency backup, emergency plan in the case of any eventuality. So what is saying here is every organization must establish, must maintain, and effectively implement a plan for emergency response, meaning that for emergency response, every organization must have a plan in place so that when the needs arises, they can respond. They should also have a plan for backup operations. They should also have a plan for post-disaster recovery for organizational information systems to ensure that the availability of critical information resources and continuity of operation in emergency situation, meaning that this plan will help organizations to continue to operate in the face or in the case of any eventuality or in the case of any disaster. That is what contingency plan is, and it's applicable to every one of us as well. Every individual, we should have an emergency plan, emergency exit, emergency preparation in case of any disaster, in case of any pandemic, like what we're currently having now in the world. There should be an emergency plan to making sure that the world, the organizations, the companies, the states, the countries, they all get back even to production, get back on their feet. So that is what contingency plan control family is talking about. Now, the controls are allocated to low impact, moderate impact, and high impact security control baselines and the privacy control baselines as appropriate. It means that contingency plan must be selected for a low impact system, for a moderate impact system, and a high impact system. No matter how low your system is, you need to have an emergency plan in the case of any disaster. You need to have a backup plan. You need to have a post-disaster recovery plan. So that is what contingency plan is talking about. And according to NIST 853 Rev 5, there are 49 controls under the contingency control family. There are 49 controls. Okay, so what are the things we need to know? What are the other plans, different plans that needs to be, addressed under contingency plan? We need to look at examples of contingency plan before we look at those other plans. Now, these are some of the examples of contingency plan. One, we have the CP1. CP means contingency plan number 1. It addresses policies and procedures. It means that every contingency plan must have policies and procedure. Every organization must have policies and procedures addressing emergency plan, addressing disaster plan, addressing the backup plan. So they must have policies and procedure in place. The policy and procedure will address what needs to be backed up The policy and procedure will address what are the critical resources, critical infrastructure, critical information, critical assets for the organization that needs to be taken care of in the face of an emergency or a disaster. All of that needs to be in the policy and procedure document. CP2, it says contingency plan. It means that there must be a plan apart from policy. Policy is a high-level document. Procedure is how to go about implementing the policy. Now, the plan means a comprehensive approach to disaster, comprehensive approach to backing up your data, comprehensive approach to emergency situations. That is what the contingency plan is talking about, which is the CP2. And then we have the CP2 enhancement 1. Remember in my last video I did on access control, I talked about enhancement. Enhancement means to fortify the base control. It means to increase the strength of the base control. So this one means CP2 enhancement 1. It says that we should add additional security on CP2. And what does it say? It says coordinate with related plans, meaning that there are other plans under the contingency plan that needs to be coordinated together. Example is like continuity plan, disaster recovery plan. We shall look at them very shortly. CP3 says contingency training. If you have a contingency plan, you must have a contingency training inside that plan. So every contingency plan must make room for contingency training. What does this training is all about? The training will equip employees, the training will equip staffs, the training will equip all those that are involved on their roles and responsibilities in the face of an emergency, in the case of a disaster. That training will equip them. Everyone will know their role, who to call, what to do. That is what the training will detail. And then we have the CP4, contingency plan testing. Every plan must be tested. You can't have a plan and leave it idle. You must test the plan to see if this plan is working, if this plan is implementable. Now, under testing, there are different types of testing, which could be, for example, the tabletop testing. Tabletop testing means you just have yourself on a round table discussion, discussing the various aspects of the plan. And then there is active testing, like a simulation testing, whereby we will simulate as if there is an emergency, there is a disaster. How do we respond? How do we ensure that our organization, our critical asset is protected and we continue our business as usual without any hiccup? So those are the things that will be incorporated inside the testing. So these are just few examples of controls under the contingency plan family. Now let's look at the next thing we have here, which is the types of contingency plan. According to NIST 834 revision 1, there are different types of contingency plan. We have the business continuity plan, the continuity of operation plan, disaster recovery plan, cyber incident response plan. These are just few of the plans we have under the contingency plan. And then lastly, let's talk about the information system contingency plan process. Now, what are the processes of contingency planning? 1, you have to develop the contingency plan policy, like I stated earlier on. 2, conduct the business impact analysis. 3, identify preventive controls. 4, create contingency strategies. 5, develop an information system contingency plan. Ensure plan testing, training, and exercise. And then lastly, ensure plan maintenance. So these are the 7 steps that is involved in contingency plan process. If this video has been helpful to you, has been informative to you, please Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and turn on your notification button. Thank you.